Hello and welcome to Let's Play Tanks of Freedom 2. We are going to start with the tutorials, and the first one is gameplay basics. In this training scenario you are going to learn about core game mechanics, moving units, claiming buildings, resources, recruitment and combat. So let's start. Sorry. Welcome to the Bootcamp Recruit. My name is General Cyrus and I will be your instructor today. Pay attention and you might even survive a day on a real battlefield. Let us start with getting familiar with moving your forces around. In front of you there is an infantry unit waiting for your orders. Select your unit and you will see possible movement tiles highlighted. An infantry unit has 4 movement points, or MP, available to it. So once these are used up, you need to end your turn by holding the Y button or middle mouse button. You can tell that a unit used up all their MP when unit changes its appearance to grey color. If you are ever in doubt on which button to use, refer to the on-screen help. You can toggle controls view from settings in the main menu. Try moving your unit around. Once you familiarize yourself with giving orders, move your unit onto a blue tile next to a building in the woods. Sometimes that tile might appear white instead of blue, which will indicate that your unit is going to use up all of their MP to get there. In that case, just pass the turn. If at any point in the game you don't know what is your goal, opening the menu will show you your current list of objectives. Okay, and we have our objective, move unit to the building. If we open the escape menu, we can see it. Also, I have the on-screen help disabled, but if we go to the settings, in the general section, you can toggle controls help on, and you will have that handy tips to what controls to use. So let's turn that back off and see. Here we have a infantry unit, so we can move them around. We can end the turn with this button here, as well as with the holding the middle mouse button. So move over here, hold the middle mouse button, next turn. Okay, we can move here, but the tile is white, so we can't capture just yet. Good job, you learned quickly. Strong forces are key to success. However, every force is going to falter without proper support, and for this you are going to need buildings. A blue movement marker next to a building means that if you move that unit there, you can claim that building. That's an awful sentence. Notice that when your infantry unit is selected, there is a blue indicator on the building. That means you can capture it. When you are ready with your infantry unit selected, click on that building to proceed. So we actually can't do that because our unit is spent, so let's just end turn and capture. Excellent, the building is yours. As you might have noticed, your infantry unit is gone though. Every production building requires crew to operate, so you have to make sure that you always have enough infantry on hand. Luckily, you can recruit more in these barracks. Select the building to open a recruitment radial menu. From there, select an infantry unit. Then, select a neighboring tile with a green marker to confirm deployment. So we click on the building, we select infantry, and we click here to deploy. Your new infantry squad is immediately ready for action. Next lesson is going to be about the one resource that keeps your armies going, action points, or AP for short. When you are ordering your units, you might have noticed a coin with a number in the top left corner. This is your AP counter. It's not visible during our conversation, so don't worry about it. Up until this point, you have been provided with all the AP you needed. But now you have to learn how to acquire it yourself. Every military building you have under your control provides certain amount of AP at the beginning of your turn. You can see exactly how much by looking at the tile information in the bottom left corner when you hover over the building. These barracks provide 5 AP per turn. Not much, but it will be enough to achieve our goal. AP are required both to order your units on the field in addition to units' own MP, as well as to deploy more units. That is why dominating the battlefield by capturing as many military installations as you can is very important. Further down the road there is an unoccupied comms tower. These buildings can provide you with 15 AP per turn, so they are worth claiming whenever you have such opportunity. Use your infantry and take that tower. Right, here we have our counter, now it's 5, and when we hover over the building in the bottom left corner we can see +5. This one is +15. Okay, so let's move and claim. Well done, with that tower you should have more than enough AP available to you to complete this training scenario. Please note that this time your infantry unit did not disappear when you claim the building. This is because towers do not require a crew to operate. They do need to be configured though, so claiming a tower always consumes all of the remaining MP points that unit had. That move still costs only 1 AP. This is all you need to know for this lesson, so we can move to the next one, combat. At the end of the road there is a Ruby Dusk infantry unit stationed guarding a building. We need to take it out. You have to move your own infantry unit next to it. This time the movement marker is going to be red, to indicate that combat can happen from that position. Okay, well we are spent, so I need to end the turn. Okay, so we can move here. Infantry is in position to strike. Just like with claiming a building, select your unit and you will see an attack marker on the enemy, only this time it will be red instead of blue. With your infantry selected, click on the enemy unit to order an attack. Okay. Shots fired. Your units attacked an enemy and they responded. A short lesson about counterattacks. As long as a unit still has some MP left at the end of their turn, they will be able to counterattack once during the enemy turn, given that they survive and are able to target the attacker, but we will cover that in a different training. Both your and enemy infantry units are injured. This does not reduce their combat capabilities though, so they can still be useful. Injuries do not affect their ability to claim buildings, so using such units might be a good idea. You can hover over these units and check out the tile highlight information in the bottom left to see how much HP they have. We still have to finish off this infantry unit. All units can attack only once per turn, unless some effect changes that. Pass the turn and attack again. Okay, so when we hover we can see we have 4 out of 10 HP. This guy is the same. Okay, so we pass the turn and attack again. Target down. This time your attack was enough to destroy the enemy unit, so it did not have a chance to counterattack, even if it had MP left. Now it's time for a final lesson for today. Winning! You will be sent on a variety of missions with different objectives, which will determine your success or failure. However, in most skirmish scenarios, your goal is going to be simple. Take the enemy HQ before they can take yours. In this training scenario, you do not have an HQ of your own, so you don't have to worry about it being taken. But your enemy does have one. Go ahead and capture it to complete this training mission. Okay, so again we move on to the blue tile and claim. Great job! All objectives complete. Remember these lessons well and you will surely succeed. Dismiss recruit. Okay, so mission complete. Let's go back and start the second tutorial. Units and buildings. In this training scenario, you are going to learn about unit types with their strengths and weaknesses, as well as all the types of military buildings. Okay, let's start. Welcome back to the Bootcamp Recruit. Today, you are going to learn about types of units and buildings that you will encounter during your deployments. Let us begin. You are already familiar with infantry units. These soldiers are not the strongest, fastest, or toughest unit around, but their ability to claim buildings makes them essential. They are also the cheapest to deploy, so make sure that you always have some under your command. This unit is simply called a tank. These are your frontline pushing muscle. Good mobility combined with strong armor and powerful cannon allows them to quickly deal with enemy forces. Tanks are especially effective against enemy infantry units. Try it out now and destroy that unit. Okay, so we select the tank. We have the attack marker, so we can attack. As you can see, that infantry unit didn't stand a chance. Tanks are also quite effective at dealing with other armored units. When facing enemy tanks, keep your own infantry out of the way and attack when your opponent will not be able to perform counterattacks. Tanks do have a weakness that you can exploit. They cannot attack air units. This is where attack helicopters come in. These very expensive units have moderate armor and attack damage paired with great mobility and are a perfect counter for the enemy tanks. Attack this enemy tank until it is destroyed. You will have to end your turn to attack again. Okay, so we have a helicopter, we can move around, but we have to attack this tank. Okay, so we have attacked the tank and it didn't hit us back. So let's end the turn and attack again. Having a couple of helicopters can quickly put a stop to a wave of tanks, especially with a bit of support from tanks on your side. As I mentioned, they are expensive, so use them wisely. Helicopters are quite powerful, but not unstoppable. Your simple infantry units are able to hit them. When faced with an opponent fielding a lot of flying units, countering with a lot of infantry is always a good tactic. If your opponent fails to disengage his flyers from your infantry, it is going to be very costly for them. In most cases, you can field soldiers way quicker and in greater numbers than they can deploy helicopters, so make them bleed. Take down that helicopter with your infantry unit to proceed. You will have to end your turn to attack again. Yeah, so... Okay, the helicopter attacks us back. And we took out half of its HP. And it almost took out our infantry unit. But we end the turn and we attack again. And it's gone. Well done. Infantry, tanks and helicopters are the three types of units that will form the core of your armies. Our engineers are not sitting idly though. On the contrary, they constantly work on building new types of weapons for us to use. Here you can see three newly developed types of units that you may encounter on your missions. Mobile infantry has better mobility than regular infantry. Coupled with their ability to claim buildings, they are a great option when you absolutely need to capture that building as soon as possible. They also have very useful support abilities that you will learn about in a separate training session. So, guys on a motorcycle. All these improvements are not without a price though. Mobile infantry lacks specialized and heavy weaponry, so they cannot attack flying units. Their attack damage is also lower, but cost of deployment is higher. It should say while. Rocket artillery is a glass cannon of vehicles. It is very expensive, has no armor, is quite slow, and is incapable of direct combat or counterattacks. All of these downsides are worth it, as it can hit enemy units, both air and ground, from a few tiles away. They require other units for protection, but in return they can wreak havoc from the backlines. So it's an artillery unit. Scout helicopters are smaller cousins of attack helicopters. They have even more mobility and cost less than the big ones, but have significantly lower attack damage. Perfect for when you need air support far away from your base and quickly. They are most effective when used to harass your opponent using hit and run tactics. You have now seen all of the types of units that will be available to you. However, not all units look the same. In fact, every nation came up with their own designs. Let's have a look. Even though these units look different, they are all equal in effectiveness on the battlefield. You should memorize them in order to avoid costly mistakes. So, okay, this is covered, but we can see most of the units. And yeah, these are scouts, these are helicopters, infantry, these are artillery units, these are tanks, and here are the guys on the motorcycles. So they all look different, but it's essentially the same unit. Let's now move on to the buildings. Here you can see all styles of HQ buildings. These allow you to recruit infantry units at an inflated price. Use that option only when you really have to. HQ also allows you to deploy hero units. Losing HQ usually means that your mission ends in a failure, so make sure to protect it at all costs. Every HQ provides you with 20 AP per turn. These are barrack buildings used to deploy infantry and mobile infantry. They have standard prices here, so using barracks is preferable to using HQ for deployments. Every barrack provides you with 5 AP per turn. These are industrial factory buildings. They have the ability to build your tank and rocket artillery units, which makes them very valuable. Every factory provides you with 5 AP per turn. And this one doesn't even have a tank on the production line. These are various styles of airfields. That can provide you with attack helicopters and scout helicopters. Usually quite rare and of high strategic importance. Every airfield provides you with 5 AP per turn. Yep. And finally, the communication towers. These structures do not deploy any units but are quite common, and each one provides you with 15 AP per turn. This concludes your training about unit and building types. Class dismissed. Okay. Right. The third tutorial. Unit levels and abilities. In this training scenario, you are going to learn about units gaining levels, what kind of benefits this brings, and what kinds of abilities they can use. Attention recruit, this training mission will cover more advanced topics, so stay focused. Today you are going to learn how your units gain experience during battles and why veterans are more valuable than freshly deployed forces. Here we have a fresh tank that is currently at level 0. Every 2 kills that unit manages to perform will gain a level, up to the maximum of level 3. Order your tank to destroy these 2 enemy units. You will have to end your turn to attack again. Okay. So go over here and we attack. This guy is gone. We end the turn and we attack again. Your tank just leveled up. If you need to check a level of a unit, it is visible on a tile highlight in your bottom left when you hover over the unit. You can also press X on your gamepad or keyboard to see full unit stats screen. Okay. Levels are not just decorative stars. Each level brings some benefits. At level 1, units gain access to their active abilities. At level 2, units gain 1 additional point of armor, which makes them more resilient against enemy attacks. At level 3, units gain 1 additional movement point, making them more mobile. Okay. Let us now move to learning about active abilities. In order to use an active ability, select your unit and then click it again. If a unit has abilities available, then a radial menu will open. From that menu, you can select an ability to be activated. Once activated, tiles that can be affected will be highlighted. Click on any of the highlighted tiles to confirm the use of ability. That's okay. Infantry units have the ability to use heavy weapon. It allows them to hit a nearby unit for 8 points of damage, minus target armor. This ability can only be used on an enemy directly adjacent to your unit. Try it out. Okay, so if we hover, we can see in the bottom left that we have 1 star and we have heavy weapon. When I click on the guy, I can press X to see the stats of that infantry unit. I see the ability with some description. I can also click on the eye here to bring up the same screen. And I can either click on the unit to have the ability menu or click on the star to open that up. So let's select heavy weapon and whoa. Using heavy weapon ability will not trigger counterattacks, so it is a perfect tool to soften up enemy tanks. It can be also used to destroy a lightly armored targets with only 1 infantry unit in a single turn. Remember that some abilities do have a cost and a cooldown period after use. When ability is on cooldown, it will be grayed out with a number of turns left displayed on it. Tank active ability is called Long Range Shell. It allows your unit to hit an enemy target up to 2 tiles away, even if there is something in the way. It can only shoot in a straight line, so make sure you line it up first. Long Range Shell deals 10 points of damage, minus target armor. Try it out. Okay, so we have the tank with Long Range Shell. We select that ability. You can see it only shoots in straight lines, so no diagonals. Boom! While the cooldown is a bit long, Long Range Shell is a powerful attack that allows you to hit enemies even in the back row. Level 1 attack helicopters are able to transport your own troops. They can pick up an infantry unit from an adjacent tile, though that action will use up all of their NP, so be careful to not expose your valuable helicopter to danger. Pick up and drop off actions are free and have no cooldown. Try it out. Okay, so we can pick up. Your infantry is now on board of the helicopter. Make sure it does not get destroyed or suffer double loss. Now end your turn and then order your helicopter to drop off the infantry unit. Okay, so we can't do anything right now. To end the turn. And we have drop off. An infantry unit that has been dropped off cannot perform any actions this turn, so make sure that landing zone is safe and secured. Attack helicopters can be a great way to quickly deliver infantry units to the enemy buildings, but use them wisely. Okay. Mobile infantry is a great support unit with two abilities that allow you to heal soldiers and repair vehicles. Remember, they can only target adjacent tiles. Medkit ability costs 5 AP when used by an untrained unit, while Repair Kit costs 15 AP. Try it out. Okay, so we have our mobile infantry, and it has Medkit and Repair Kit. If we select Repair Kit, it doesn't work, but if we select Medkit, we can Medkit the infantry unit. Being able to heal high-level or mission-critical units can make the difference between a successful mission and a total failure. Okay. Rocket artillery is a unique type of unit. As you should already know, it cannot fight in direct combat. Instead, it has access to its active ability on level 0. It can hit targets up to 3 tiles away and does not require direct line of sight to do so. This ability is free to use and has 2 turns cooldown. Okay. Great thing about rocket artillery is that it can hit both ground and flying units. It cannot hit targets directly adjacent to it, so make sure to keep enemies at bay with other units. Try it out. Okay, so we have our artillery, and it has a missile, and we can attack this helicopter. We could attack even 1 tile further, it's fine. When used correctly, these artillery units allow you to destroy targets that would otherwise be hard to reach. They can also deal significant damage to any enemy forces approaching your base. When leveled up, the active ability of the rocket artillery becomes more powerful. It can now hit targets up to 4 tiles away and deals more damage. Try it out and see the difference. Okay. Okay, that's way bigger range. And let's hit this guy. He's gone. When veteran artillery with its long range and high damage is a bane of lightly armored units. It is especially effective against all types of helicopters, though it is equally devastating when used against infantry or tanks. Scout helicopters have the rapid response ability. It allows them to replenish all of their MP and perform an additional attack this turn, if they already did one. Just make sure to use it before your helicopter is out of moves, as it requires 1 MP to activate it. It's before. Make sure to use it before your helicopter is out of moves, okay? Approach the enemy unit and attack it. Then activate your ability and attack again. Okay, so we attack. Rapid response, we click on the guy and we can attack again. Scout helicopters can cover a lot of ground with this ability. It is perfect for when you really need that air support at the other side of the battlefield, or to finish off that heavily damaged tank. This concludes the lesson about unit levels and abilities. Make sure to use them as often as possible. Class dismissed. Okay. So we have one last tutorial, hero units. In this training scenario, you are going to learn about some hero units and their unique abilities. Welcome back. This is your last training session. After that, you will be ready for real action. Today we are joined by a commando, Lieutenant Blake. He will be helping me and teaching you about hero units. Always glad to help new recruits. Hero units are a special type of unit. They are very tough and deal a lot of damage, though their mobility is below average. More importantly, hero units have passive and active abilities. Let's start with the passive one. Every hero when present on the battlefield gives you a passive benefit. Commando has the Trained Specialist ability, which makes cooldowns for active abilities of your units 1 turn shorter. Thanks to this, your veteran units become even more valuable. Try using your artillery unit to clear some tiles on the other side of the forest. Okay, so we have the artillery, and let's hit this guy. Good. Now open the ability radio of your artillery unit again. You will notice that turns left to cool down the ability is 1 instead of usual 2. You can end your turn, reposition your artillery and strike again. In the meantime, a field on the other side of the forest opened up. Move Blake there using his active ability Infiltration. If you already used his active ability, just wait a few turns for it to cool down. Okay, so this guy indeed has only 1 turn of cooldown left, so I can move him. And let's end turn, and we can attack again. Nice. And this guy, his active ability Infiltration, we can use this ability on the other side of the tree line. So let's do this. Commando ability allows you to reach places otherwise inaccessible or hard to get to. You can bypass obstacles such as forests, mountains and buildings, as well as enemy units, and reach your target. Remember that different heroes have different abilities. Some of them will target specific units or tiles. Some of them might target heroes themselves in order to be used, like the ones that give benefit to units in certain radius around the hero. This is an enemy infantry unit guarding our HQ. Have Blake take it out. Okay, so we have to take Blake and attack this guy. Right, so he did a lot of damage. 9. He took 4 in return, so let's end the turn and attack again. Excellent performance, Lieutenant. Thank you, sir. Now let's claim this building. That will be all for now, Lieutenant. You are dismissed. Yes, sir. On most missions, the hero will be there from the beginning, and losing one might fail your mission. But in a typical skirmish, you will have to deploy your hero from your HQ building. Time for me to stretch my legs. Go ahead and deploy me from this HQ. Okay, so we can deploy the general. With me on the battlefield, thanks to my recruitment passive ability, all infantry and mobile infantry units can be deployed for 10 AP less. This effect applies both to HQ and barracks. Go on and deploy an infantry unit from HQ. You should notice that it only costs 30 AP instead of typical 40. Okay, so let's see. And this is indeed 30 AP. Infantry is my specialty, so make sure to call on me when you plan on using a lot of them. As for my active ability, it is called Deep Strike, and it allows me to call in a paratrooper that will land up to 2 tiles away from me. It can be very useful when you have reached the enemy base but lost all of your infantry units in the process. Just make sure that landing zone is safe, as this new unit is not going to be able to act until next turn. Go on and try using my ability if you already did that before. Wait a few turns and use it again. Okay. So, Deep Strike. Let's drop this guy here. And there's a nice helicopter for that. Good job. That should give you an overview of hero units and their abilities. Every nation has their own unique heroes with their own unique abilities, so be on your guard, as you never know what will happen when one of them shows up. One final note. On some missions, you might be required to protect a non-combatant unit. As an example, here we have Sapphire Down President Gideon. Units like him are called NPC units. They are a bit tougher than regular infantry, so you don't have to worry that they will die from a single attack. They are not as tough as heroes though, and cannot fight. And they cannot fight. Wait, what happened? I was in my office and then suddenly... Let our dear president get back to work. You have successfully completed your training. Good luck and see you on the battlefield. Dismissed. Okay, so this covers all of the tutorials in Tanks of Freedom 2. Thank you for watching. Next time we are going to start the prologue.